Hey everyone, it's Dragon Rider, and we have even more mini set reveals. Blizzard was posting all over their social media. As you can see, they had these multiple posts revealing some neutral cards for the mini set. So with these fun little videos that we have, they revealed some cards. So let's take a look at what they revealed today. And we're going to start with Grim Totem Buzzkill. It's a 4-mana epic, 5 attack, 4 health, battlecry, discard a weapon to draw 3 cards. Discarding a weapon is pretty interesting. I think we've seen a little bit of like discarding specific things, but never really a weapon. We've seen like discard a minion, discard an undead, right? Discard specific like spell, but we've never seen discard a weapon before. So this is pretty interesting. The fact that this is neutral is also very interesting to me because weapons can go into kind of any class, and drawing can actually benefit some classes more than others. Some classes already kind of have a lot of draw and a lot of things built in, but other classes might need a little bit of help with draw mechanics. So having a neutral way to do that could be something. The fact that you would have to have a weapon and this, and then discard that weapon to get that draw, a little bit of a drawback there. I think specifically right now, maybe like Hunter and Shaman could benefit from this, especially with the weapon draw neutral minion that came out. We have the 1/2 that draws a weapon for 2 mana. So you certainly could be able to actually draw a weapon and have this and then be able to discard that. That is possible, but it's also putting quite a few cards into your deck that maybe you don't want to draw. It's kind of a lot you have to do in order to get that draw. So I don't really think that this one sees much play, honestly. Then the next one we have is Elite Tauren Champion. It's a legendary 5-mana 5/5 with Finale. Start a rock duel. Players must spend all their mana each turn or else they take 8 or more damage. Now, the way that they'll take that damage is this Molten Pick of Rock. It is a spell that will go into hand like Curses for Warlock. This is not going to be like an aura type thing that will stay on the battlefield. This will be an in-hand card. And essentially, what's going to happen is you and your opponent will have to spend all of your mana each turn. And if you do spend all of your mana each turn, then this increases in the damage it will deal and passes to the other person. Very interesting kind of concept and kind of card, and we'll see how it works. I think a lot of people will want to play this just because it's a cool concept. Maybe there is a little bit of shenanigans with messing with your opponent's turns, with kind of forcing them to pick between taking that damage or spending all of their mana. It's kind of interesting because I think in terms of the spending all of your mana, generally it's good practice, and oftentimes players are spending all of their mana every turn, except for, potentially odd cases where you just don't have a card or a couple of cards that equal the mana that you have. And I definitely think that this could be a powerful card because this goes to hand. Hand size is also very, very important. If you try to play this and give your opponent this Molten Pick of Rock and their hand is full, it just goes away. It will just disappear. They don't get that put in their hand. Depending on the matchups, some classes can heal that damage. So, being able to take 8, move on, and maybe heal that 8 damage back up might not be that bad for some classes. So this is really kind of an interesting, just like fun kind of card. I'm not sure how much it will be used in top tier decks, but I definitely think people will try it out at the beginning. Next up, we have Speaker Stomper. It's a 4-mana 4/4 with tradable and battlecry enemy spells cost 2 more next turn. It's another tech card. They kind of stuck with the 4-mana 4/4. They added tradable onto it. Enemy spells costing 2 more next turn. We've seen very similar effects, and I feel like in Standard, it doesn't often get used. especially now, maybe earlier in Hearthstone's history, but now it's not as impactful as it once was. Again, these tech cards, maybe they get played just to see how they feel. This one might get a little bit more play because it's tradable, and generally decks have some spells, so you'll likely get some sort of value out of it, but otherwise, this just seems okay to me. It's not, a certain minion type, so you're also not really going to be able to have synergies with it. It's just a tech card. Then next up, we have another one of the gains in effect while it's in your hand that changes every turn with Remixed Musician. It's a 3-mana, 3/3 rush, and then it will gain one of the effects while it's in your hand. So it will always be a 3-mana, 3/3 with rush, but you might also be able to get Poisonous with it, or maybe Lifesteal, or Divine Shield, or Wind Fury. Not all of them you'll be able to get the rush plus one of those other effects. This is kind of interesting. The fact that it does have the rush makes some of these a little bit more valuable, but again, this just being a 3-mana 3/3 with rush, we've seen that stat line before, and this has no minion type, so honestly, I don't think this one sees a lot of play. Plus, again, like I mentioned with that weapon in the initial video, it's got 4 things that it can change between. That's not great for trying to find the actual option that you really want. So I'd imagine for standard, this probably really doesn't see much play. And then lastly, we have another legendary. We have Magatha, Bane of Music. It's a 5-mana 5/5 battle cry, draw 5 cards. Give any spells drawn to your opponent. This one is very interesting. Again, I don't think we've really seen an effect like this, but there's definitely some ways that people can try to make this work. Whether it's some sort of bad cards that you want to give your opponent if they're spells, maybe it's played in a minion heavy type deck, as we've seen with things like Unholy Death Knight, that really only has like 2 spells, usually with Grave Strength and Plague Strike. There could be some decks that maybe want to use this. Again, as I mentioned with the first card as well, there are some classes that really could benefit from having additional card draw, and this doesn't have quite the same requirements that something like Famished Fool has with the Infuse effect, so being able to draw cards and get some card draw there might be okay. If there is any sort of effect of putting things like we've seen in the past into your deck, maybe like those bombs when Bomb Warrior was a thing, some type of mechanic like that going into your deck, this could definitely see more play. But right now, I'm not really sure where people will want to play this. So, unfortunately, I do feel like a lot of these neutral cards, for standard at least, are a bit underwhelming. And we'll see what the rest of the set looks like, especially with dual class cards. We've already seen some pretty exciting ones, but with the mini set cards, to really make an impact, sometimes these cards have to be very powerful. And I just don't feel like these ones are at that level. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Are you interested in any of these neutral cards? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for checking this one out, and I'll see you in the next one.